Hi, Gabe, Mr. Y here. Obviously, we're going to try to catch you up a little bit on the horn. It's taken us a while to get going this year, but that's okay. We can catch you up. That's totally fine. Just to let you know, too, you are exempt from the first couple of evaluations that are due next Friday. We're not going to do that, okay? I'm just going to kind of catch you up from where you are, and that's totally fine. I think I'm going to skip a little bit, too, in the EE book, the technique tracks #1 that we did. I'm not going to have you do until maybe later. Shepherd's Hay also, I'm going to skip until later. What I'd like you to start on today is the scale sheet. You remember the scale sheet I gave you? It looks like this. Horn scales, and the first one was B flat. But again, we've kind of moved beyond that one in the band array. So I'm going to kind of start you on the second scale, that D minor scale, G minor concert, or for the horn, you can see it says D minor scale because you guys start on that low D right there, which I'm going to show you today. Okay? Just for now, you should also know that the numbers underneath the scale there, underneath the notes there, are not your fingerings, okay? That's just the number of the note of the scale. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 are the numbers of the scale. If that's going to confuse you with the fingerings, you can just cross those out if you want to. That's totally fine with me. If there are fingerings that you need to write in later on, you can, of course. I really recommend, though, that you don't write them all in. Write in a fingering the very first time you see that note and then not all the other times because then your eyes will kind of get used to looking at the note and not necessarily at the number. If you write in all the numbers, that's fine. It'll do the job, but it's like using your training wheels forever on your bike. You're never going to get really good at riding if you always use the training wheels. So, use the training wheels at first. That's totally fine, but you want to gradually get unused to that too. Okay? One of the most important things about horn, of course, is how to hold it. So let's talk about how to hold it, first of all. You can see that on your left hand, you've got the little pinky ring there that you put your pinky in. Okay, at least I think you have a pinky ring on your horn. Most horns do. And your three fingers, of course, your three big main fingers are going to go on the three valves. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, that's pretty easy. Your thumb, there's going to be a little crook back here for you to put your thumb. I actually have a key there, and some horns do have a key there, the more advanced horns. It's what's called a trigger horn, or a double horn, actually, is what it is. You just have a thing here, though, that won't move at all. So that's going to be easy for you. Just plant your thumb there and leave it there. Okay, you don't need to worry about your thumb. But you are going to be worrying about your other three fingers. And just to let you know, also, the way we talk about these valves is the way they are from you to away from you. So your first valve is the one that's closest to you. Your second valve is the middle one. And then your third valve is the one that's farthest away from you. The ones that you'll use most often are really the first and second. You don't really use the third too often. But the first two you do, which is kind of a good thing because your third is your ring finger, and that's kind of the hardest finger to use. By the way, horn is the only instrument that you play with your left hand for the brass. All the other ones are your right-handed. So I don't know if you're left-handed or not. It doesn't really matter. It's only 3 fingers. I don't think you'll have a problem with that. The most important thing about the horn, though, and I'm sorry, one more thing, too, about the other hand, of course. I think you probably remember this before. You take your hand and you kind of cup it like you're trying to hold water in it, like you're trying to hold something liquid in it. You turn it over, and then you're going to stick it inside the bell of the horn. And you just want to put it in far enough that it stops it a little bit. You can hear if I have it all the way out. The sound is really kind of sharp. If I push it too far in, it actually changes the note. Okay, so you don't want to push it too far in like that. You want to have it just a little bit out like this. You do want to have air get out, but you want to be holding it. You kind of hold the horn on the back of your hand like this. You kind of support it with the back of your hand like that so you can hold it up. So my hand is just a little bit in, but not, completely stopping the horn. Okay? The place I want to start you is on #1 on the G minor scale. So for you, it's the D minor scale. And you can see here, the very first note there, I don't know if you remember this from back when, but that first note right there below the staff is a D, as in David, or as in Dunderhead. Okay? So that first note right there on the horn is actually going to be your first valve. Okay? And we're going to spend some time making sure we have that note really well, Gabe, because the most important note when you play any song on the horn is making sure that you get that very first note right. You can hear what that note sounds like right there, or up here if you play it in the right octave. You really have to have that sound in your head before you start to play. I don't know if you like to sing or not, and you don't have to sing, like Pavarotti or anything like that, but you do need to be able to at least hum the note. So, before you try to play that note right there, you should hum that note, get it really in your head. Okay? Now, the first couple of notes on the D scale here, like I said, if you want to erase the numbers that are there and write these in, you can, but don't write them in forever. The first note is the D, which is your first valve right there. Okay? Your second note, the second one up, the E, that first line on the staff, an empty garbage before dad flips, that second note up there is an E, which is no vowels in the French horn. So you can hear that if you play that first note and then you just let the vowel up, it kind of automatically goes up to the next note. The third note is that F, which is also your first valve. So check it out, the first three notes. Pretty easy, really. Okay. Then the fourth note, the G, is also no vowels. So check it out. So far, you got four notes with only moving one finger. It's kind of easy, isn't it? And then guess what? The top note, the A, okay, is your first and second valve. So if I play all five of those first notes. And remember, each one goes a little bit higher, of course, is the way it goes. And then for number one, we're just going to come back down. So number one, all together, check it out. And probably at this point, Gabe, too, especially at this point, since you're just starting out, you want to be playing a lot of those long notes. You can play long notes on just your mouthpiece, of course. You know, and you can see how long you can hold the note there with just that buzz. Or, of course, you can pick a note and just play it. Like, for instance, that first D. You know, sit up straight, take a nice breath, and see how long you can hold that note. That's a really good exercise to do right now. Okay? I think what I'd like you to work on for the next couple of days, at least, Gabe, is just number one on the D minor scale, the G minor concert scale. Okay? Get so that you can play the whole first line really, really good. Like I said, if you need to write the notes in for now, you can. But definitely don't write them in coming back down on the scale. If you need to write, you know, the first note, that D, is first valve. And then the second note is no vowels. You could write a 0 there. Okay. Third note is first valve also. That F is first valve. And then the next note is 0 vowels also, G. And then the high note is first and second valve. So you could write 1, 2 there if you want. But certainly don't write any fingerings after that, I don't think, because then it's just the notes coming back down. And you already know those because you just did them going up. Okay? So when you can get where you can play all like that, then we'll move on to the next step and that kind of thing, I think. Okay? And I'm going to skip you around a little bit. I'm not going to have you do every single line that we did because, like I said, I kind of want to have you catch up here a little bit. Okay? So, a little bit of practice every day. If you can do about 10 or 20 minutes every day, that's the most important thing to do, guys. Gabe, you need to make sure your practice consistent. Won't do if you do like an hour a day, an hour on the day right before the quiz or something like that, okay? You got to do it a little bit every day. It's got to be a consistent kind of thing, okay? So, 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, something like that. Take it out, you know, put it together, do all the stuff you need to do, and do number one on the scale sheet right now. Okay, that's your only assignment for the week, okay? And remember, you got to bring your horn home today. Well, I guess by the time you see this, it'll be too late if you didn't. But after that, I'll have a horn for you here in school. So you will need to bring your mouthpiece back and forth. And you will need to bring your books and your papers and all that stuff too, of course. But you won't actually need to bring the horn. Okay? All right. Good luck, bud. Thanks.